Hello, good evening, and welcome to Team Squared Learn to Play Netrunner. I'm Mark, I'll be your host for the evening, and if you're joining us here from the Netrunnerverse, you may also know me as MCG. Now, if you were one of the 17 followers that we had on Twitch before tonight, you may be wondering what the heck Netrunner is, and we'll come on to that in a second. But if you're joining us to learn about Netrunner, you may be asking, who the heck are Team Squared and why should I care? Well, let's clear up the last bit first. You definitely shouldn't. But for more on who are Team Squared, I'll let the rest of the team introduce themselves.
I'm Sharon, and what is Team Squared? Pretty brilliant team to run around the country playing escape games with. Go on, Sarah.
Hello, I'm Sarah. Team Squared's mine. I own it and everyone inside it. They do my bidding. They eat when I say, they drink when I say. And I tell them in which country we are visiting next, how many above the number of 80 escape rooms we'll be playing in a week. And we were formed because we competed in the Red Bull Escape Room World Championships together. And now we're stuck for life because I have information on all of them that I will release if they don't do what they're told.
Hi, I'm Marsha Brady, and we're a crazy family. That is Team Squared. Yeah, a lot like the Brady Bunch in this case, and it is my job to eat when I'm told.
Okay, thanks. Well, most of that is true, and there'll be a competition later where you have to guess which bit was true or false. But for now, moving on to the topic at hand. Now, escape rooms and Netrunner don't have a lot in common, usually, but there are a lot of Netrunners that enjoy playing escape rooms, so I thought maybe people who play escape rooms would enjoy playing Netrunner. And as now is the perfect time to get into the game, I talked this lot into doing a series of streams with me where we explore that fact and hope it doesn't blow up in my face horribly.
We're all on our best behaviour, Mark. Don't you worry.
When can I swear?
Not yet. So, without further ado, we'll answer the next question of what is Netrunner? And to do that, we need to take a brief history lesson.
Oh, that's so cool.
So, once upon a time, there was no fun, there was only work. People had to spend 24 hours down the pit, and when they got out, go up the chimney. It wasn't a happy time, and things had to change. Then, sometime around 1960s, we think, fun was invented, and people started doing things for enjoyment and entertainment. This evolved for a number of years until in the 1990s, a man by the name of Richard Garfield decided he knew one of the best ways to have fun. And in 1993, he would release a game that would change the world forever, and people would still be playing it today. And that game is Magic the Gathering.
Oh, almost.
But that's not what we're going to talk about today. Because in 1996, he had a similar idea. What if I make a game like that, but for adults? Because we know that no one over the age of 12 will have any interest in wizards and magic.
I love Wizards and Magic. Why aren't we playing that today?
So he came up with a game which he called Netrunner. And were Magic the Gathering was kind of loosely based on Dungeons and Dragons, Netrunner would be based on a different role-playing game, Cyberpunk 2020. And in this cyberpunk, slightly dystopian future, he came up with a different style of game to appeal to a different audience and established the fundamentals of the game. And those fundamentals are still true today. And I'm going to go through them now because understanding what this game was all about explains why we're still playing it today. So first of all, it's an asymmetric game. That is, one of you is playing a runner and one of you is playing a corporation. And both sides of the game play each other quite differently. It is not, I'll get my gang of monsters against your gang of monsters, and both decks have an equal opportunity to have the same content in them. Both sides are very different, although you get a chance to play both sides in a match. The theme is that you have corporations who are trying to make money and runners who are trying to stop them make money or steal that money from them. And the corporations try to do that through what we call agendas. And this represents what their business is trying to do. And by advancing those agendas or scoring those agendas, you achieve victory points in the game, but thematically speaking, the business is achieving its objectives on towards world domination. The runner, on the other hand, is trying to sneak into the corporation's headquarters and get those agendas away from them. And if they can steal the right number of agenda points away from the corporation, then they win instead. So we have that primary win condition of the corp looking to advance their agendas and the runner trying to steal them. But there are alternate win conditions. Because corporations are not always trustworthy, they can commit certain acts and deeds that may result in the untimely death of the runner, which makes it very difficult for them to steal any more points off them. Whereas the runner can be a nuisance and cause the corporation to waste all their time and spoil all their ideas, which is represented by them running out of cards, being decked, as we call it. And that basically represents the corporation running out of ideas, running out of money, going out of business. So that's another way for the games to end. Now, in order for the corporations to be able to try and advance those agendas without the runners stealing them all, they can mount defences, which we call ICE. They originally stood for
Intrusion Countermeasure Electronics.
Very good, thank you, Dave. But no, I don't think that abbreviation exists in the current version of the game. We just call them ICE. So they will have various ways of stopping runners getting into their services, into their offices, to try and steal those points away. But then conversely, the runners won't rest on their laurels. They will try and develop a way to get past that ice. So they will develop a rig, a computer setup made up of both hardware and programs that will allow them to bypass those defenses and get into the servers regardless. And hopefully then you're starting to get a feel for how this game works. The corp trying to protect themselves and the runner trying to exploit any weaknesses they can find to their betterment. Not unlike my day job, I hasten to add, but that's a story for another day. Along the way, both the corp and the runner has some help. So the corp has additional cards called assets and upgrades that help them advance their agendas or protect their agendas in various ways, and the runners have resources that help them develop their rig quicker or to get past the corp's defences and other such things like that. And finally, we have the nuts and bolts of the game, which are the actions themselves. In the corp world, they're called operations, and in the runner world, they are called events. And functionally, they're both exactly the same, but they there's a distinction between them, so that you know that only corps can play operations, and only runners can play events. And I use the term actions there because I'm referring to original Netrunner as created by Richard Garfield, and he dictated that there is only so much time in a turn for you to do all the things that you want to do. He called them actions. We currently call them clicks. So a corp gets 3 clicks per turn, and a runner gets 4 clicks per turn. And within each of those turns, you get a certain set of actions you may do that we'll come on to later. The last thing he gave us is a layout of the board. So each player has 3. I want to say special areas, but I feel like I'll get a laugh if I describe them as that.
Hey.
Go for it. Go for it.
Oh.
But the corporation has their HQ, which represents the business they're trying to do right now, aka the cards in their hand. The research and development department, or the stack of cards, so business they may want to do in their future. And the archives, or discard pile, which is where we put everything after it's been played or after it's been discarded by the corp. Similarly, the runner has the grip, which is their cards in hand, but which represents their life points. And if you run out of cards in hand and then take more damage, that is how you die, as I mentioned earlier. They have the stack, their future ideas that they may be able to bring into play later on. And they also have their heap, or their discard pile, where they throw cards away. And you'll get used to this terminology as we go through, as sometimes cards will refer to look for something in your stack or bring something back from archives, etc. But we have those 3 locations on the board set up facing each other, and we have a battleground in between them that will come on to Luke in a minute. But that really covers some of the fundamental concepts of the game. Have you guys got any questions about any of that at this point?
Do you have, when you play a game, do you have to play both as the runner and as the corp?
In competitive play, yes. In a match, you would play 2 games, one either way. For the purposes of what we're doing tonight, just practicing and playing on Jinteki.net, no, it's just a single game and away you go.
Another question. In real life, if you don't have the physical card, are you allowed to write its details on a bit of paper and play it?
Well, that's a fascinating question, Sharon. Almost like I prompted you, which I haven't, which is very strange.
I've been paying attention.
Original Netrunner, just like Magic the Gathering, was a collectible card game. You had to buy packs of it from the store, and you could only play with the cards that you had access to. And obviously that creates a secondary market where rare cards become more valuable because people want to buy them to put them into their decks. What changed for the Android Netrunner, which we'll look at in a minute, is it became a living card game. So packs then got released in what they call data packs or expansions, and you went to your game store and said, I want this expansion, please. And every card from that expansion came in that box. So there is no rares or commons or anything like that. Everyone has access to every card. To further answer your question, if you haven't been able to buy that pack yet to get access to that card, yes, you can very much proxy it with a piece of paper with the details of it and slide it down the front of another card.
Oh, right. So it has to look like another card. It can't just be like a...
Yes, having things in your deck that are obviously something else is is a method of cheating, and not one I'm going to teach you.
The back of your card still needs to look like a card back or a card sleeve, otherwise it could be you could just have a stack of bits of scrawled on paper as your deck, and it becomes sort of easy to work out which of your cards is which of your cards, especially if you've got like a dead fly representing one of your cards and a coin representing the other. It's going to get pretty easy to work out which card's coming up next, and so that's why they all need to look the same from the back.
For helping me answer that now obvious question.
It's spoken like a seasoned Magic player there, Dave.
I am a seasoned Magic player, Mark. I've been playing since our Lord and Saviour Richard Garfield presented Magic the Gathering. I must have started maybe 3 years after he came up with the game and started to produce it. So mid-90s, there or thereabouts, in a set called Revised. I've still got cards from that set, and I have several drawers upstairs full of cards. It goes socks and underwear drawer, t-shirts, magic. Those are my drawers upstairs. Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully we can convert you to, or at least broaden your horizons to include Netrunner as well.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Okay then. Oh, what timing? Sarah's back.
Oh, I think the postman just called.
Food delivery an hour late because apparently he's not on Twitch, even though I told him about it. So
incredible.
Yeah.
Who isn't nowadays?
What a way to tell us he's not going to watch us. Yeah.
Okay, so despite all those great fundamentals that Mr. Garfield created for us, and the amazing reviews which the game picked up from the gaming press, unfortunately, Netrunner could not follow the success of Magic the Gathering, and in 1999 it was discontinued.
Was it because of the lack of wizards?
Well, there may be a lot of truth to that, because in 2012, Fantasy Flight Games brought the game back as Android Netrunner, and they introduced a character called Wizard. So they were obviously looking to edge their bets and trying to include a new audience there.
Fair.
But the reason Fantasy Flight Games brought this back is that in 2008 they'd established a new intellectual property called Android. And Android is a cyberpunk future where androids, as in human-like robots, not the operating system, have become a part of everyday life now. And the corporations that make androids are now so big and so powerful, they dwarf the likes of Google or Amazon or whoever your go-to reference for big evil corporation is these days. So with that IP established, they looked for some more games to introduce into that world, and came across Netrunner, which was an astonishingly good fit as a representation of massive corporations that have changed the world and people who go out there to do something about it. So along with changing the business model, which we've already talked about, changing from a CCG to an LCG, The other big change they made is they introduced a lot of character to it. So now, rather than playing as Faceless Corporation and Anonymous Runner, you had a choice of 4 mega corporations to choose from, and runners of different factions and different personalities that can have different motivations for going out and doing what they do, and that influences how they play the game and the cards that are available to them. And I could probably fill a full stream just dipping my toe into the lore of Android and all the different world it makes, because I think it's a really fascinating and well fleshed out world in which to set a series of games. Even though Fantasy Flight Games don't make Netrunner anymore, they do still own the Android IP, and they still put out products in that space. So they've recently launched a Android role-playing game, which I think is called Genesis or Genesis, not sure how you pronounce that. And I'm sure they'll do more with it in the future. It's really fun and interesting.
It's strange. It's strange that the Android setting was the first time that they separated themselves from whatever corp and whatever runner, because in the original Cyberpunk you had mega corporations like Arasaka and Militech. They had quite a lot of background, huge amounts in fact, and it seems like Richard Garfield's version of it was kind of a touch bland comparatively, by the sounds of it, which is sort of a shame.
Yeah, that's perhaps one of the reasons that for its unfortunate demise. But there's probably huge articles about this on the internet somewhere that know about it a lot more than I do. Sure. So I'll let people. I'll leave that as an exercise for the reader, as they say. So yes, that was so. Fantasy Flight Games launched Netrunner in 2012, and by 2016, Netrunner was pretty hot stuff. It never got anywhere near the heights of Magic, unfortunately, but in the game runner community, in the board game community, most people knew what Netrunner was, and there was big buzz about it. If you went to an organised play event, you would expect to find 50 or 60 people there, and nationals and international events attracted hundreds of players, and it was the game du jour for a while. But then, as these things transgress, in 2018, for a number of reasons that I won't speculate on too much, but primarily and officially for licensing reasons, the licensing agreement between FFG and Wizards of the Coast, who owned the rights to original Netrunner, came to an end, and they decided that they wouldn't be renewing that deal, and that is the end of Android Netrunner, or so they thought. But the Netrunner community loved the game too much, and they weren't prepared to let it fall by the wayside, so they decided they would band together and keep the game running. And before the end of 2018, the I'm going to butcher this explanation, Netrunner International Sustenance
Support an expansion initiative.
Support and Expansion Initiative was born, or NISE as we now know them, and set up a large, fully volunteer organisation who wanted to keep Netrunner going and people playing it into the future. So they formed very late in 2018, yet in 2019 they managed to schedule a full season of organised play, culminating in a World Championships in Rotterdam that saw over 250 players turn up to play a theoretically dead game. So that wasn't too bad. And we
Incredible.
also had a release of new cards, which is known as the Ashes cycle, quite deliberately rising from the ashes to keep the game going. 2020, you may have heard, was quite a difficult year for most people. So there wasn't much in the form of organised play in person, yet a full range of events carried on, and we moved over to the online practice tool. Jinteki.net became the place for official play as well as online practice, and we'll look at that more in a little while. Coming into 2021 now, and what Nisei have launched is a new product called System Gateway. And after all those successes in retaining the player base through 2019, 2020, this is focused on attracting new players to the game. And hey, look where we are, having a conversation about bringing new players into the game. How they try to do that is, in my humble opinion, incredibly smart. So within this System Gateway product are a number of levels that allow you to introduce people to the game in a staggered way rather than blowing them away with the depth and complexity of all 900 cards that are available in the standard card pool. They've put together a journey for new players to go down in their own time, and that is what I'll be guiding you through today and through subsequent streams, largely making everything I say redundant.
Just a quick question, Mark. Sorry, could you just say again how many cards are currently live to play in a game?
In standard, there are roughly 900 that you can choose from to make up your decks.
Wow.
The good news is, for System Gateway Starter, which we'll be looking at today, there are 32. And that's a lot less to take in one go. And on that note, why don't we look at some cards?
Absolutely. Yes. On a quick aside, the set symbol is Portal, is a portal, and Portal was the name of the starter set that Richard Garfield's OG product Magic used to introduce new players to the game. There seems to be some sort of running theme. Yeah, very clever. Here we go.
When you say set symbol, sorry for the naive question, this is just a symbol for this group of cards?
There's a little icon in the corner of each card to tell you which set it came from. And that's in case you throw all your cards loosely in a drawer and you have no idea where they came from. And if someone says you're only allowed to play with cards from a certain set, or more likely, a certain set is leaving the game through something that we call rotation, you can tell which card belongs to which set by looking at the little symbols in the corner.
When you create your deck, do you have to stay within a set, or can you just pick and choose across the whole range?
It depends which format you're playing in. We are going to look at today Gateway Starter games, which include 32 cards. And you can only choose from those 32 cards, and they're all in one box, System Gateway. When you're playing Gateway Booster, you have a choice of 43 cards, and they're all in this pack. When you're playing Gateway Deck Builder, you have a choice of 68 cards, and they're all in this pack.
More, Mark. It's too much.
Yeah. When you then go into Startup, which is the first sort of proper format, if you like, with no disservice to the Gateway products, you then have 200 cards to choose from that are from certain boxes. And we'll talk about what those certain boxes are when we get up to that bit.
Okay. Are you going to give us a quiz at the end about this, or can we ask you unlimited questions?
Somewhere in between that, there's not going to be a quiz, but I'm not going to allow unlimited questions either. Repeated questions are okay, though.
All right. Let's look at these cards. I like it.
Okay. So, on screen now, we have got the System Gateway Runner Starter Deck on Jinteki.net. So I mentioned earlier, Jinteki.net started off as an online Netrunner simulator to allow you to practice against other people when you couldn't get to a game store or tournament. And obviously for the last 12 months or so has been an absolute lifesaver to be able to play games on the, because you're not allowed to go to a game store or tournament. And it's a great system that we'll get to grips with more as we go through these streams. But what we're going to start off with, first of all, is what we call the deck builder view. And this is where you can build your own decks. But if you're a new player, as Dave is here on the screen, then you've just got some pre-built decks that are all about System Gateway. And that's just another way of helping new players come into the game. If you want to get on Jinteki.net, you want to give this a try, you don't need to worry about putting a deck together. There are some sat here waiting for you.
Cool.
And what we're going to do now is we're going to talk about the cards that are in each of these decks. It may be a touch on the overwhelming side, but I think it's important to understand what the cards do and how that helps you towards your win condition rather than just diving straight into a game. So we won't take all night on it. We'll push through it as quick as we can. So we're starting off, we're looking at a card called Creative Commission. And you can start, you know it's called Creative Commission because it's got a nice big name across the top of the screen. The number to its left is its play or install cost. Now, in runners, the number is always about how much it is to play or how much it is to install. It's a cost you'll have to pay right now. This is different for corporations, and we'll come on to that later. But this one costs you 1 credit to play, and it is an event. And events are things that happen instantly. You do the effect, and then you throw it away. It goes into your heap. So we've got some nice artwork there of someone being creative on their commission. And then we have the word event in bold text, and this is to tell you that this card is an event. Underneath that, we've got what the card does. And that says you may gain 5 credits. So you pay 1 credit, you gain 5 credits, you've net increased 4 credits. However, the condition of this card is if you have any remaining click, you must lose a click. So what this is kind of teaching you is to plan out your turn. It is better for you to play this event as your last click, therefore you wouldn't lose any clicks. However, in an emergency, you want to play it earlier because you really need those credits, then you just have to pay the extra price of losing a click. Mm-hmm. If we move on to the next one.
A quick question about credits, Mark. Do they remain over turns? That card suggests
they certainly do. So you'll start the game with 5 credits in your credit pool, and that will go up or down as you pay for things. But yes, that's a persistent amount. It doesn't reset every turn or anything like that.
Gotcha.
Okay, the next one is called Jailbreak. You can see this one's free to play with a nice big 0 in the corner. And this time next to the word event, you have a subtype. And subtypes matter for various reasons. They're often referred to in the rules text underneath it. And it's telling you that the subtype of this card is a run. And then when we get to the effect it does, you can see straight away that you are required to make a run as part of playing this event. You must run on HQ or R&D. That's 2 of the servers that the corporation has. And if that run is successful, you may draw 1 card. And if you breach the server, you may access an additional card. So when you normally make a run, you're just going to access 1 card, look at 1 card in the opponent's hand or in the opponent's deck. What this card is saying is you get to access an additional card and you get to draw a card just as a fringe benefit. So it's win-win.
Gotcha.
Next, we have Overclock. This, again, costs you 1 credit to play, is another run event. And what this one says is you place 5 credits on the event. So, as opposed to what Dave was just asking there about do cards stick around, do credits stick around? Yes, they do usually, but not here. These credits only exist whilst this event is in play. You may run any server, and you can spend any of the credits that are on this card during that run. But when that run is over, they disappear into the ether. So it's a short term, make use of these credits. Maybe you want to run something that's more expensive than you can otherwise afford. Maybe you want to install something mid-run. It's just a short-term credit boost for you. Next, we have the very much the nuts and bolts of the game, Sure Gamble. And that is a basic economy card. And it says, if you pay 5 credits, you get 9 credits in return. So you gain 4. Very much like Creative Commission, except there is no drawback to this one, other than you need more credits to play it in the first place. There is no penalty in terms of losing clicks or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Now, Tread Lightly is a really fun card with some really fantastic artwork on it. These creatures, robots that you can see in the artwork, are called surveyors. And you'll learn about them much further down the line. They are part of a corpse protection suite, a very effective part. However, they're not so effective if the corp cannot afford to turn them on. And what this card says is, whilst you are running on a particular server, any any ice that the corp wants to res will cost 3 more than normal, which is a lot more than normal, and therefore you may be able to make your way past ice without the corp being able to afford it.
Gotcha.
So a great way of sneaking into somewhere you might not otherwise be able to get into.
That card suggests that the corp pays for their ice as it's revealed, or as it's laid down, or as it's rezzed.
Absolutely right. And that's
Gotcha.
what we'll come on to shortly.
Cool.
That the corp doesn't pay instantly for things. The corp only pays for things when they are rezzed or brought into the game. So actually putting it on their board is more or less free. There's slight changes to that we'll come on to, but they pay their costs later. So preventing them from paying them costs later can land them in some real hot water.
Gotcha.
See.
And the final event we've got is called VRcation. Again, it costs 1, and this is a draw card. So you put this card into your heap, and you draw 4 replacements. As with Creative Commission, though, if you have any clicks left, you lose 1 by playing this event. Now, this is more difficult to plan out than Creative Commission, because you have a hand size limit. If you have 5 cards in your hand, which is normally your limit, and then you play this last click, suddenly you have 8 cards in your hand, and you have to throw 3 of them away. So again, in getting you to think about how you plan out your turn, you either want to have very few cards in your hand when you play this, or you take the hit of losing a card, but at least you'll still have maybe 2 clicks left that you can use the cards that you've drawn.
Gotcha.
I have a question about this card. On the bottom right, there is, and on all the cards, there seems to be this sort of cube with the 5 dots running up. And on this card, 2 of those dots are filled in.
Yes.
What do they mean?
That's an excellent observation. 10 out of 10 for that.
I'm the searcher.
That is your influence meter. But in startup, influence is ignored. So we'll save to talk about that in detail for another day.
All right. Okay.
Cool.
Okay, we'll move on to the hardware section then. There's only 2 of these. You'll be pleased to hear. So, hardware is basically your computer that you are using to do any running and hacking and whatnot that you might want to do. Docklands Pass is a bolt-on. Thematically speaking, I don't know exactly how that works, but what it means is that when you breach HQ, you make a successful hack into the corporation's hand, you get to look at an extra card. And as you want to look at more cards to win the game, then it's a good thing for you. You pay 2 credits as shown in the top left, and you place it down on the board in front of you. That sticks around until the end of the game, unless you have a reason to trash it for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
When it says access 1 additional card, are you picking it up, putting it in your hand, or just looking at it, putting it back on your deck?
So in face-to-face Netrunner, what would usually happen is either your opponent will fan their cards in front of you, or they'll place them all on the table at the side of in front of you, and you choose which ones you want to access by pointing at them. Some people would actually reach out and pick them up, but these days of hygiene and safety first, less contact the better. So I'll just say, I want to access that one, please. They will then turn it over, and that is you then accessing that card. You're able to read it, see what they're up to. If it's an agenda, you can steal it to get some victory points. If it has a trash cost on it, which we'll come to in a minute, you can pay that trash cost and make them throw it away.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Quick question regarding the agenda scoring out of that. If you grab 2 agendas, can you score them both?
You certainly can.
Oh, cheeky.
Yeah. And you'll find more cards as we go on, maybe not today, but later in the series, that allow you to access a lot more than 2 cards as well.
Gotcha.
Now, underneath that, we have Penny Shaver, and this is what we call our console, or thematically speaking, your computer. So you can run without a console. I guess then you're like using your mobile phone or something, or you're going to an internet cafe. But once you have a console, that's your own computer, and obviously that has some benefits, and it's not unheard of, but it's unusual for a runner not to have a console within their deck. This particular console is called Penny Shaver, and it costs 3 to install, as you can see from the number in the top left. It tells you that it's a hardware and that it's a console, and then it has a little icon that says +1 SD card. And what this actually means is +1 memory unit. Now, memory units are things that you plug programs into. For some reason, they don't have hard drives in the future, and programs have to be plugged in and they fill up space, like cartridges in a drive or discs in a CD player. And your default value is you have 4 memory units, but by installing the Penny Shaver, you then go up to 5 memory units, and that's useful, obviously, for having more programs plugged in at the same time. This card then says whenever you make a successful run, place 1 on this hardware, and then you can use a click to put another credit on this hardware, and then take all the credits from it and put them into your credit pool. This is a very good card, and since it's released in Gateway, it has become a staple of a lot of decks. So it's kind of fitting that it is in your first deck, because you might never use another one.
Sure.
Basically, what it's saying to you is, whenever you make a run, which is something you want to be doing in Netrunner, get money for doing so. Seems okay.
Yes.
But it's whenever you make a successful run, it says. So what's the
Successful run, yeah.
Yeah.
But very likely you'll have to spend some money on that run, so it won't be necessarily make you a profit, but it will offset some of those costs you've incurred in doing so.
Gotcha.
Right. Section. And I'd like to talk about programs in their entirety. So first of all, Dave, if you could look at unit for me.
Gotcha.
So just as we've got the title at the top as always. This one costs 3 to install, and underneath that 3, you can see this program will take up 1 SD card.
Mm-hmm.
And if you flick up briefly to Mayfly,
Does anyone else
fill up 2 SD cards. So,
Mark, you're coming through a little bit jangly at the moment. How's your connection? Steam hasn't started to update or anything by accident, has it?
Oh, damn it, Mark. And your connection.
My connection is...
Probably playing Steam at the same time.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Just
a little robotic.
Yeah. Okay. It's like you're becoming one with Netrunner.
It's because you're in the north and the hamsters that are running your modem are tired after an hour.
It's true. They do have further to come all the way up north.
Yeah.
And it's colder
it's
up
uphill.
There, no heating.
That's why. It's uphill.
True.
Yeah.
And you won't eat pies.
Should I try both in the connection?
No.
We could probably...
Do we have any way of knowing whether it's Mark? What a silly question.
I mean,
we know it's Mark.
Yeah. Everybody else sounds fine at the moment, so...
Are we sure it's not his accent? Because we've had that problem before.
Yeah, it could be. It could well be. Bear with me one moment. Right, Mark. Oh, yeah, you're moving a bit smoother now. Try doing talking.
This is me talking.
Do an interpretive dance so we know that the movement is smooth.
Yeah.
Via the vocal cords and your mouth.
Is my voice audible and clear?
Your voice is audible.
Yeah. It is occasionally stuttery, but not bad. It's not bad.
Okay. Well, we'll do what we can.
Okay.
I will speak loudly. I'm not sure that will help, but...
No, you're not in France, so you could just speak at a normal...
Speak louder.
And slower, and they will understand.
I was just saying that
incredible. It looks like explaining Mayfly is killing you.
Mayfly takes up 2 SD cards, and you, I think, only have 1 spare up north. And so when you talk about it, immediately it becomes impossible to understand you. I think it's broken one of your subroutines, and it's been trashed as a program.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. That is a lot of Netrunner terminology.
That was quick. That's pretty quick. Nice work. Yeah.
I've already understood all of this.
Maybe I should talk about
Mark.
Well, let's move up to Cleaver and see if that improves it.
Clever.
What a nice Cleaver. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Look at it, fresh from the forge.
It might be worth, Mark, reconnecting. It will make the video weird for a second, but it shouldn't. It shouldn't be terrible. Yeah, in fact, it'll chop Sharon's head in half and distribute Sharon over 2 different, and then move Mark to a different screen.
Mark's not here. We can swear quickly.
Oh.
Quick, choose
Hey,
your
is anyone
favourite version of
watching? If no
poop.
one's watching, I'm gonna say
That people are watching. and
Female
it's-
presenting
No.
nipples.
Oh, I've
There
done
we
it.
go. Okay, he's
Don't tell
back.
him. Don't tell him it happened.
No.
Hi, Mark.
Perfectly
Okay.
innocent.
We were just talking about Cleaver.
Yes. What did you come
We
up
only
with?
swore once. I didn't really.
And she's using the word "we" liberally.
Okay. Shall we proceed?
Yes,
Yeah.
you're perfectly audible now.
Okay, excellent.
Apart from your accent.
So, we saw that Unity fills up 1 memory unit, and we saw Mayfly fills up 2 memory units. So,
Yes.
programs can fill up different numbers of memory units, was the point I've been labouring for at least 5 minutes.
Say it again. So if there's 1, it takes up 1, and if there's
Yeah.
2, it takes up 2.
Yeah.
Now, tell me, Mark, what happens if there's a 3?
Now, there aren't many 3s. The next bit, as we come down the card, is it says program and it says icebreaker. Now, icebreakers have certain features for breaking ice that only icebreakers have, and so we'll come on to that in a second. But also, very importantly, it says that Unity says that it is a decoder, and this is where subtypes become important, and it's probably the most complicated thing for people to learn when starting to play Runner.
Gotcha.
So what this being a decoder means is that you can see slightly lower down, interface, pay 1 credit, break 1 code gate subroutine. So the ice that the corp will try and protect themselves with comes in different varieties, different flavors. One of those is a code gate, and to get past code gates, you must have a decoder. If you go up to Cleaver, you'll see that Cleaver is what's called a fractor, and fractors can get through barriers. And then finally, Carmen is a killer, and killers can get through sentries. So you will need different programs to enable you to get through different pieces of ice. The flip side to all of that is Mayfly, which is hopefully won't break my system this time. Now, Mayfly is subtype AI, and AIs can do magic things because they can break subroutines on any type of ice, but they come with a drawback. In Mayfly's case, after you finish the run, it trashes itself.
Sure.
So it only lives for a short day like a Mayfly.
Nice. Very appropriate. Is the drawback always the same? Do they always trash themselves, or do they also do horrible other things?
Each individual AI will have its own unique drawback.
Sometimes they just sit in the corner and cry.
You will learn later on whether it's worth to put an AI in your deck or take a gamble without one, or whether it ties into your game plan, etc.
Gotcha.
So that's the different types of icebreaker. And there are also programs that aren't icebreakers at all, but there are none on this deck, so we'll save that for another day. But just to go back to the ability text on Unity,
there we go.
It says you to interface with an ice, or when you are interfacing with an ice, you can pay a credit to break a code gate subroutine. What does interfacing mean? It means having your program at the same strength as the ice. Now, this number in the bottom left in the whitey grey section is the default strength of that program, so 1 in this case.
Mm-hmm.
The other ability on here, it says you may pay 1 credit to plus 1 strength for each installed icebreaker. So if you only have a Unity installed, you can pay a credit and Unity's strength will go up by just 1. If you have 2 icebreakers installed, when you pay that credit, Unity's strength will jump up by 2, and so on. So Unity is a card that plays better the more icebreakers you have installed.
Mm-hmm.
Does that strength increase hold for each subsequent turn, or do you have to pay the credit again?
Usually, it will only stay for an individual encounter with a piece of ice. There are effects in the game that make that strength stick around for longer, but that is the exception, not the rule.
And
Right, cheers.
the colon after the cost there means I can do it multiple times?
Yes.
Thanks, Richard Garfield.
You can pump up plenty strength
Cool.
to whatever you need to. So there are some pieces of ice in the game that are strength 10, which will obviously require some pumping up before you can break them.
Wow.
But the costs associated with strength and breaking all differ depending on which program you are using. So if you're looking at Cleaver,
Yep.
its cost to break each subroutine is cheaper. For 1 credit there, you can break 2 subroutines. However, to make Cleaver stronger, it will cost you 2 credits just for 1 strength.
But it starts a little stronger in the beginning anyway at 3 natural strength, right?
Correct.
Cool.
And then Carmen starts at a strength of 2, has a good strength boost. 2 credits there will pump it up to strength 5. And then you'll pay 1 to break each sentry subroutine. That's kind of offset, though, by the hefty install cost in the first place, being 5 to install. And you'll get a kind of relationship as you look at more cards. The more expensive they are to install, the easier and cheaper they are to use. Carmen also has this additional text that says, if you have already made a successful run this turn, this program will cost you 2 less to install. So again, thinking about how you plan out your turn, if you find a way of making a run first, you'll save yourself 2 credits when you come to install it.
Gotcha. Okay.
Then finally on Mayfly, you'll see that it's a very simple 1 to install, strength 1, 1 to make it 1 stronger, 1 to break any subroutine, so lots of 1s on it. But as we mentioned earlier, it comes with a drawback. So after that run ends, Mayfly dies.
Gotcha.
So it's like a single-use program.
Okay.
Finally, we have resources. And as I mentioned earlier, resources are things that just kind of help you.
Give me the money.
Do various things. So Red Team gives you money when you are making runs. It'll cost you 5 to install initially, which is quite a lot. But then, if you make a Red Team run on one of those central servers, that's HQ, R&D, or Archives, if it's successful, you can take 3 credits off it. Now, that's not infinite. You only have 12 credits on it to begin with, but it allows you to get a rebate for 4 runs that you subsequently make. And it's up to you to work out whether you think you can get value from that. Typically, if you find a Red Team early in the game, you will get value from it. Later in the game, it's more difficult.
Mm-hmm.
So if unsuccessful, you don't lose any of those credits that you've loaded onto.
Correct.
Oh, we're close to actually playing a game now.
Not quite. There's still another entire deck to go through.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you seem to have forgotten the whole
Asynchronous asymmetrical gameplay
first
means.
rule of Netrunner.
It's all right, Dave. I'll play the runner.
Okay.
We without those tech problems, I was aiming to get this done by 8:30, so we're slightly overrunning, but we're not doing too bad.
Okay.
Smartware distributor. This costs you absolutely nothing to install.
Brilliant.
But it doesn't do anything until
Brilliant.
you have spent a credit to put 3 credits. You've spent a click to put 3 credits on it. But once you have done that, when your turn begins, you get to gain a credit clicklessly. So this is what we call drip economy, because it comes to you drip, 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 regardless of what you do, so long as there are credits left on it. So even though you've spent the click one turn to put money on it, you'll get a credit back from it effectively for free on your next turn.
Sure. Yeah.
Next, we have Telework Contract. This one costs you 1 to install, and once you install it, you put 9 credits on it. And this one's very simple. It says, use a click to take 3 credits from us. But you can only do this once per turn. So you can't install it and then whip off all 9 credits. You have to take those credits gradually over your turns.
Gotcha.
And finally, we have Verbal Plasticity, which is quite a mouthful. And what this says is the first time you draw a card each turn, which is one of the basic actions you have in the game, you can draw an extra card. So that's kind of nice.
Pretty good.
But you've got to pay 3 credits up front to be able to do that.
When it says you can draw 1 card, is that above your 5 card hand limit?
No. But as you play your cards, obviously cards will come out of your hand and you'll want to draw new cards. Drawing cards is one of the basic actions of the game. Normally you draw them one by one. What this card is saying that once per turn you can draw them 2 for 1 click.
And you're allowed to, I assume then there is a cleanup phase and you're allowed to go over your hand limit during a turn but not remain over your hand limit at the end of the turn? Exactly
right. At the end of your clicks, you enter the discard phase. If you've got more than your hand limit, you have to bin everything that is over that.
And you get to choose what you bin?
You do.
Wicked.
Ooh, thankfully, that takes us to the end of the runner deck. We're almost there.
Excellent.
Now we're on to corporations.
I don't think we went through the ID card. I think we didn't cover what any other parts on it mean. Although now I understand what the memory unit thing up the top is.
Yeah, you've got the memory units there, but nothing else on your ID actually does anything in this game. So we'll save ID cards for another day.
Excellent. My favourite.
Okay, so now we go on to the Syndicate and the Corp starter deck. And they have 5 different types of cards. They have agendas, they have assets, they have ice, operations, and upgrades. Now, as we touched on earlier, agendas are the bits that the Corp wants to do as part of their business. And scoring them has both a victory point effect, gets you closer to the magic total of 6 in these starter games, but also has rewards you for doing so. So Off-World Office, you will see is worth 2 agenda points. That's the number on the left-hand side, on top of the 3 squares. But in order for you to claim those 2 points, you have to advance this agenda 4 times. And that's that number up in the top right corner. So this becomes what we call a 4-2. 4 advancements to earn 2 points. If you're able to do that, though, you gain 7 credits as a reward. Because you've opened up a new office on a new planet, which is quite an achievement.
Gotcha.
Send a message is then what we call a 5-3, because you have to advance it 5 times to score it, but if you do, you earn 3 agenda points. They are typically harder to score because you need to advance them more times, but then they typically have stronger rewards. So in this case, whether you score the agenda or even when the runner steals this agenda, you can res a piece of ice for free. Now, a piece of ice may cost you up to 6 credits. So, 6 credits that the runner can't interfere with and up the price in any way can be quite useful for you. And finally, we have Superconducting Hub, which is a smaller agenda. This is a 3-1. Only have to advance it 3 times, but you only score 1 point. And when you score this agenda, you draw 2 cards, which is nice. But perhaps more importantly, your maximum hand size is increased by 2, so you can keep more hands in your hand, more cards in your hand for the future.
That's pretty damn sweet. How do you advance the agenda?
So this comes back to the basic abilities that we touched on earlier, but we didn't go through them. There are, wait for this, you'll enjoy this phrase, there are 5 basic abilities.
Basic abilities.
There are also 3 advanced basic abilities that we don't need to talk about yet. But there are 5 basic abilities. So for both Corp and Runner, you may gain 1 credit.
Gotcha.
You may draw 1 card. You may play 1 card, either your event or your operation. You may install 1 card. Then runners have the ability to run. The clue was in the name. Corps can't do runs, but Corps can advance cards. And advancing a card means taking a credit and putting it upside down on a card. You can advance different types of cards, and advancing things have different effects. That, as you've touched on there, advancing agendas is how you score them and how you steal them.
Gotcha.
What we'll look at in a second is an alternative to that. So as we go into the assets section, assets are things that help you win the game. And you get to the benefits from them by, first of all, installing them, but by then resing them. So as we touched on earlier, Nico Campaign doesn't cost you anything to install, but it does cost you 2 to res, so you install it face down, and then you pay 2 credits to turn it face up and basically turn it on. And when you do turn it on, it says you load 9 credits onto it, and then whilst there are credits remaining on it, as your turn begins, gain 3 of them. When there are no more credits on it, you trash Nico Campaign and you draw a card.
Gotcha.
So that is giving you both money and card draw if you're able to keep it on the board. But the number down there in the bottom right, in a bin, is what we call a trash cost. So if the runner is able to get to that card, either before you install it or afterwards, they can pay that trash cost and say, no more benefits for you.
Is that in credits? Do they have to pay 2 credits to meet the
2 credits
takeaway coffee cup cost there?
Yes.
Excellent.
Next, we've got another financial asset with the mouthful name of Regolith Mining License. And you do a very similar thing to this. When you res it for 2 credits, you put 15 credits onto it, and then each time you click it, you can gain 3 of those credits. So it doesn't come into you as a drip. It comes into you when you spend a click on it, but you can spend a number of clicks to get a lot of credits. Now, for the next card, business steps up. Because if the only cards in the game you could advance were agendas, as a runner, you could just sit back and wait for a corporation to start advancing something and then say, I'm going to go and steal that now. To put an aspect of doubt in the runner's mind, you can also advance ambushes. So, this card says, when the runner accesses this asset while it is installed, do 2 net damage plus 1 net damage for each advancement counter on it.
Gotcha.
Sharon, you're on mute if you're asking me a question.
We've been asked a question by chat, and I think it's to do with the 2 dots next to the portal symbol down the bottom next to the set icon.
Yeah.
I understand that the number 45 there suggests that this is the 45th card in the system gateway set. But what are those 2 dots?
Interesting. Well, as you can see in the deck list, for regular, which card are you on? You're on Urtica Cipher. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There are 2 dots on Urtica Cipher, and if you look at the deck list in the middle view there, you can see that there are 2 copies of Urtica Cipher in this deck.
Gotcha.
If you hover over Offworld Office, there are 3 copies of Offworld Office, and there are 3 dots on it.
Oh.
Right.
So those dots tell you how many copies of each card should be in the starter deck. So
right.
After you've shuffled them all up, you want to put them back together again. Rather than you could just refer to the printed list of cards in this deck, or you could look at those dots on the bottom.
Gotcha.
So if you build your own deck, does that on Jinteki, would those dots automatically update to how many of each duplicate card you've got in your bespoke deck? Okay.
Those dots only exist on these cards because they are the prescribed starter decks. On normal cards, they don't exist.
So it's just to help people like us.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
So, Sharon, I think you were going to ask me something about Urtica Cipher.
I was just going to say that's really cool then.
Yeah.
Seems quite powerful.
Well, so
damage
like I say,
things.
You have to have a way of rusing, as we call it, the runner into running an advanced card with something other than an agenda in it. So in this case, if they ran it when you'd first installed it, they would take 2 net damage. But if you've advanced this twice to make it look like a send a message, perhaps, and they run in and try and steal it, they're going to take 4 net damage.
Can they see that you've advanced it?
They can, because you'll have those counters on it.
Okay. So, okay.
Cool.
Okay. And now we're going to move on to the ice. Now, the ice is what goes in front of your servers to try and stop the runner getting in. And as we touched on earlier, there are different types of ice, there are different costs of ice, there are different strengths of ice. I'm going to move through these quite quickly, and we can talk about some of the effects on them in more detail during the game. But you can see that Bran costs you 6 to res, which is a lot, but it's strength 6, so it's a lot for the runner to be able to interface with.
Sure.
What Bran also is a bioroid, which is a subtype of ice, and that's what this ability at the top of the card says. It says lose click, break 1 subroutine on this ice, but only the runner can use this ability. So bioroids are this weird type of ice that are actually conscious.
Mm-hmm.
And thematically speaking, if you're prepared to use the time to lose a click, you can convince them not to stop you.
You can bribe them.
Pretty much. And you can go past without having a program that breaks those subroutines. You can just spend clicks to get past them instead.
Oh, okay. Okay, but in order to get past this one...
Only bioroids do that. You can't do that with other ice.
Gotcha. And in order to get past this one, because there are 3 subroutines, you'd have to spend 3 clicks to get through it for free, right?
You'd have to spend 3 clicks to get through it with no ill effects.
Free, yeah.
But you can see there that it has 3 subroutines denoted by the little arrows. The first one says you may install 1 piece of ice from HQ or archives directly inward from this ice, ignoring all costs.
Gotcha.
Which is a good effect, doesn't stop you though.
Mm-hmm.
So if, for example, the corp has no money left after they've just spent 6 on resin Bran, even though they can install some ice, they might not be able to res that ice, rendering it somewhat useless. So in a pinch, you could spend a click to break end the run, spend another click to break end the run, let that first subroutine fire, and carry on and wait and see what happens.
Gotcha. Do you have to break them in a particular order?
You do not.
Okay. Gotcha.
Unless, in a very small number of cases, there are a small number of cards that say they can only break the first subroutine or the last subroutine on a card, in which case you're going to respect that.
Okay.
If you break a subroutine, does that carry over to the next turn?
Afraid not. It gets its subroutines back the next time you encounter it.
All right.
Cool.
Okay. We'll move on to Diviner then. And Diviner is a very different type of card. This one isn't trying to stop you at all. It doesn't say end the run on it anywhere. Oh, it does actually.
Right.
You can tell how much I've played with Diviner. But what it says is, if this subroutine fires, is do 1 net damage. That means that the corp gets to randomly pick a card from the runner's hand and tell them to throw it away.
Gotcha.
And if that card you throw away has a printed play or install cost, which is an odd number, then you also end the run.
Excellent. I like that it specifies 0 is not odd for that as well.
Well, that clears up a lot of debate.
Yeah.
Well, this is a brand new effect actually in Netrunner. We've never had a card that functioned in this way before, so it's quite a fun thing that we're still getting used to, and obviously catches me out because I forgot that it also did that.
Excellent. Are there many subroutines that do 2 things like this that will say it's going to cost you 1 net damage and end the run, or you're required to lose a click and end the run, that sort of thing? Or is this reasonably unique when you say it's quite new?
Oh, that's an interesting question. I mean, there are lots of subroutines that do multiple things, but they wouldn't. What they do as one punishment is kind of depends on the value of the punishment.
Gotcha.
So it probably wouldn't say do 1 net damage and lose money and end the run. But It might say do 1 net damage and trash a card from your stack or something like that.
Okay.
Okay.
Balance in all things. Yeah.
Indeed.
Is there an option for the runner not to match the strength of the encountered ice? That was a question in the chat.
Yes, there is. That just means it fires. You run into an ice, you either can't or choose not to break it. It just happens to you. That's
sure.
That's how it is. Apart from a very small number of cards that give you kind of an escape clause that say when you encounter a piece of ice, you may trash this card to escape or jack out without penalty. In which case, those subroutines don't do anything.
Okay. So this Karuna card then, where it's got do 2 net damage, the runner may jack out. Is that what you're talking about?
So Karuna is another brand new effect that we've only just got into the game with some unusual wording. So this one costs 4 to res and is strength 3. It is a sentry, which means you need a killer to break it. But what this one says is it does 2 net damage and then it offers the runner the chance to jack out. So if they're going to die, they at that point can say, okay, then I'll prefer not to die, I'll stop.
But in order to do that, they definitely need to be able to break 1 subroutine. Oh, no, they can just choose not to break that subroutine. and
Correct.
jack out.
However, if they wanted to run through it in its entirety, which means not pay for any of it, you would then have to take a further 2 net damage. So you're taking 4 damage in total, which could be lethal. So what this card's trying to do is trying to say,
This is cool.
you can come and have a little poke at me, and I'll do some damage to you, but then you can escape. But if you don't want to break me at all, I'm going to do a lot of damage to you. So it gives a runner a bit of a choice, which is kind of nice as a starter card. It doesn't just, you don't just run into it as a mistake and then go, oh, I'm dead.
Oh, sure. Does that happen quite often? Are there very many lethal ices that'll do you in if you have the misfortune of meeting them?
Not so long ago, I died on my second click of the game, so that was quite an achievement.
Excellent.
So yeah, that can happen. So
sure.
Okay, we move on then to Palisade. Now, Palisade is the first ice of what we call positional ice. So it's a 3-cost to res barrier, and it starts off at a base strength of 2. But you can see at the top there it says, while this ice is protecting a remote, it gets an extra 2 strength. So for the purposes of protecting a remote server, it is 4 strength. And then it just has a very boring subroutine, end the run. So if you run into this and you can't break it, you stop. But if you can break it, you carry on. And it's a very binary decision.
This card doesn't have a coffee cup.
Because under normal circumstances, you can't trash ice.
Okay.
So the runner can't get rid of it before encountering it in any way. But if they do reveal it, at least they know what sort of things could be installed.
Absolutely. I mean, there are cards later on in the world that allow you to trash cards of any type. But that's not a standard ability. Otherwise, you could get into a place where the runner just keeps running R&D, keeps running hand, trashes all their ice, and the corp just has to sit there and go, oh, I've got nothing to do now.
Gotcha. I am incapable of self-defending. Sure.
Okay, next we've got Tithe.
Huh?
And that is a little sentry. Only costs 1 to res. It only has strength 1. And if you run into it, it'll do a damage. And the corp gets its money back. So it's a nice piece of ice to put out nice and early as a deterrent for the runner to run at it. But later on, it doesn't really do that much. And it's very cheap to break. And finally, we have White Space. White Space is a real fun card. Again, some new effects that we haven't seen in Netrunner before. And it said, if you're unable to break it, you lose 3 credits. And then it checks how many credits you've got. So if you've now got 6 credits or less, it ends the run. But if you've still got 6 credits or more, if you've still got 7 credits or more, it doesn't do anything. So as we'll see in a minute, you might decide with your opening 5 credits, I'll just run. I'll just see what happens. And if you run with 5 credits and this makes you lose 3 of them, then you've got 2, therefore the run gets ended. So it's a nice little maths card, if you like, to offer a soft punishment to a cheeky runner, but not much. And as you can see, it's 0 strength. So that's exceptionally easy to break once the runner has means of doing so.
Does the runner not is the runner not able to see these ice cards that are out?
Not when they're face down.
Face down.
Okay.
The corp has the advantage of putting all its cards face down until it uses them. And then the runner has to guess whether they take that or decide whether they're going to take a chance and run into something that they might not have the means to break, or do they play cautious and wait until they've got a means of breaking everything. So that's part of the runner strategy that you've got to think about.
Right,
Sure.
okay.
Cool.
We're then moving on to operations. Operations are the corporation's version of events. This one is very simple. Government subsidy. If you can pay 10 credits, so the corp has managed to save up a full 10, you'll gain 15 back. So gaining 5 is better than gaining 4, but you've got to have 10 in the first place to do it. Whereas the next card, hedge fund, says spend 5, gain 9, so you've got a net gain of 4. So very, very similar cards. They just give you more money. And you can see that the increased play cost of government subsidy is rewarded with an increased return if you can save up that much money.
Okay, but because it occupies deck space, the second 5 won't give you an equivalent amount because it's on one card at once, and so it only takes one click to do. Otherwise, if it was just a double, it would be 10 for 18, and that would be too good, I assume.
Yeah.
Balance in all things.
Penultimate card.
Woo! Gonna play.
The penultimate card is Seamless Launch. This has nothing to do with gaining your money, although it does offer good value for money. It says, for 1 credit, you can place 2 advancement counters on an installed card so long as you did not install this card this turn. So normally, advancing a card costs you a credit and a click. This card says you can put 2 advancement counters for a credit and a click. So if you had a superconducting hub, for example, installed in a server with no advancement cards on it, the runner doesn't know if it's an agenda, doesn't know if it's a asset or a trap, then you can suddenly go, I'll place 2 advancement counters on it. I only have to advance it 1 more time, and then I can score it. It's just a shortcut into, usually scoring agendas, but it could equally work with traps if you're feeling audacious.
Nice. Swapping card advantage for advancement on your win sounds like a fair exchange.
Lastly, and oh boy, did we save a one for last. Lastly, we have an upgrade. And the upgrades are special cards that go in a server alongside something else. They can be the first card in there, incidentally, but they usually exist alongside something else. And that can be one of your central servers, or it can be a remote server. And if you pay 2 to res this once it's in that server, it says whenever the runner approaches this server, so tries to get into it, they either have to spend 2 clicks or 5 credits, or the run ends.
And this is played face up, yes? Unlike ice?
You play it face down until you res it.
Oh, of course.
And then the runner might decide that they'll make a run on that server. They've broken the ice. They think they're going to get in there scot-free. And then you go, I'm afraid not. Let me res this skunkworks. And suddenly, that run ends unless they can pay 2 credits or 5 credit, 2 clicks or 5 credits, which is, taxing to say the least. And in standard play, this card is everywhere because it's so good. But in this starter deck, you only have 1 of them, so you only have to worry about that in 1 place. Okay,
Gotcha.
After all that talking, we can do some playing.
Incredible.
I'm going to be honest. I was like 100% attention for the runner deck, and then probably varying between 30 and 90% attention for the corp deck.
Big variable there, 30 and 90.
Does that mean you would rather play runner, Sharon?
Yes.
Okay, I think we can probably arrange that.
Right,
Dave, would you like to create a game for us as well?
Oh, that
Yes.
logo's sexy. Look at it.
So,
Logo.
okay,
The logo change.
we are now over in play mode. And very briefly, I will tell you how to set up a game. So, you click New Game, and this little window will appear, as you can see it now. And it gives you some options about what type of game you'd want to play. So in the title bar, you could type something in the like new player or want to play system gateway or something like that, or it will just default to your username 'S game. For our purposes, it doesn't matter. You then choose whether you want to play as Corp or Runner. So as we've decided, Dave will be Corp and Sharon will be Runner.
Mm-hmm.
You then choose what format of the game you want to play. So what we are playing is System Gateway. So you choose that from the drop down, and what the system will then do is will limit you to only playing System Gateway legal decks to try and prevent any cheating in the unlikely chance someone wants to do that. It then asks you if you want to allow spectators, whether those spectators should be able to see your cards, and whether you want to password protect it. And once you've made your mind up on all them, you can go on ahead and up at the top and click Create. So you can see now Dave created that game, and it has appeared in the list on the left. And then we are going to join that as opponents and spectators.
I've joined.
I've joined as a spectator.
And I missed the password.
You don't need the password to be a spectator.
Do you not?
I think you do.
Do you? Ah, right.
You do.
It's 4 letters. Guess.
Oh.
Have a guess.
F. U.
Not quite.
Got it. I'm in.
Yeah, excellent.
Okay. Right, Dave, fire us up.
I've got to select my deck. I'm choosing the Corp Starter deck. Yeah.
Too late for him. Too late.
Yeah.
I'm in there.
Sharon chose. Right, okay. And then click Start, right?
Here we go, and we're into the battleground.
Win. Kill.
So, the first thing you see in front of you is the startup game pop-up window. And what this is showing you is what two identities are being played, which two users are playing, so Dex versus Fat Sharon in this case, and your opening hand of cards that you may either keep or mulligan. Now, a mulligan is, of course, shuffling all 5 of your cards back into your deck and taking 5 new ones. So, Dave, you have the choice of those. You've decided to mulligan.
I have.
Sharon, you have your opening hand, and you...
Can you see my opening hand?
I can, and I think you probably want to mulligan that one.
Oh dear, they're so pretty.
Okay, and once you've decided that, you can both click Start Game at the bottom to close that little window.
Yep.
Okay, and now, Dave, it is you to play first. The Corp always goes first, so click Start Turn.
That is how it should be. Capitalism. Okay.
Like we slagged off Google and Amazon earlier, having friends that work high up at both. Well
Nailed
done,
it.
guys. Sell yourself.
Nailed it.
Did we do that?
So,
Yeah.
when I clicked
So-
Start Game, I automatically drew a card. Is that right?
That's right. So
Start turn.
the reason that, or part of the reason that the Corp only has 3 clicks, whereas the Runner has 4 clicks, is at the start of their turn they always draw a card, which we call the mandatory draw.
Mm-hmm.
And this just means that the game can't carry on forever, because after the corp has taken a mandatory draw on, at most, 28 turns, they'll have no cards left.
Sure.
So we've got a ticking clock that has to bring the game to an end at some point. And just to explain this layout to you now, you can obviously see your own cards at the bottom of the screen, and you can see the backs of your opponent's cards at the top of the screen. Down the left-hand side, you have all the details of what's going on. How many clicks that player has left, how many credits they currently have. On the runner's side, it tells you how many memory units they've got free. And then it also talks about link strength, tags, brain damage. You don't need to worry about that yet. And on the corp side, again, clicks, credits, the amount of bad publicity you've got, don't need to worry about that. And that's your information spread. On the right-hand side, you've got the chat and event log. So that will tell you everything that's going on to the game. And you can just see that Dex has started their turn with 5 credits and 5 cards in HQ. And it'll give you a little update like that at the start of every turn. On the board in front of us, you have those 3 key areas that we talked about earlier. So for the corp, they have their HQ with a little 6 in it that says they currently have 6 cards in HQ. They have their R&D, which is all their face-down cards, which currently has 28 cards left. And their archives, which has 2 numbers. Up arrow is how many are face-up in there, and down arrow is how many are face-down in there. And you might want to sneak some traps into their face-down, or you might want to try and hide some agendas in their face-down. And it would be up to the runner then to come in and have a look in there to see what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Similarly, the runner has their grip with a 5 next to it. They currently have 5 cards in grip. They currently have 25 cards left in their stack, and they have 0 cards in their heap or their discard pile. And then in between you have your battleground, which is currently empty. So that's the layout to start with. Now we've got to get on with the game proper. Now, what are your first instincts to do here, Dave?
I want money, and because I don't trust Sharon, I kind of want to protect my deck as well.
His deck.
My R&D, and naturally, yes, deck. That's right. I naturally distrust any player who attacks my library in Magic, because they are an arse. So this I'm struggling with because naturally my deck's going to get attacked. So I kind of wanna put something in the way there, and I want money because I'm a corp.
So click on your hedge fund there to get you some money.
Shh! Don't tell Sharon what I'm doing.
Okay, yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
oh wait, I thought Mark was guiding us through this game.
I'm going to guide you through, Sharon. Don't worry.
Okay. So Sharon gets to see that I've played hedge fund, right? It comes up in the chat log.
Yes, it does. Yeah. And now I can see you've got 2 clicks left, but 9 credits.
Gotcha.
Yes,
and that's
indeed.
in my archive now. What's the difference? Do I have to put things face down in the archive? Is that the only way they go in face down?
Yes.
Gotcha.
Okay. No. You said you wanted to protect your R&D.
Yeah.
So click on one of the things that you want to protect your R&D with.
Let's have a quick look. Lol. Ah, cool. And it says where I can put them.
You click on it and it'll ask you where do you want to put it.
Gotcha. And then
you have 1 click left.
Because money is the business. There we go. Or is it, Sharon? Or did I put something else in that open remote?
I'm going to take all your money.
So you can see that, that the cards, as I said earlier, the corpse cards go face down. It hasn't cost them anything. They will only have to pay for that when they res it and bring it into play. Now that they've taken all their clicks, they can press end turn.
Mm-hmm.
So I now press start turn?
You certainly do.
Okay. And it says I can run, draw, or gain credit. I assume I can click on any of the cards that are in my grip,
Yeah,
and that puts them onto my playing area.
exactly. Now, because installing cards for the runner is very easy because you don't have a choice of where they go; they just go onto your board.
Okay.
So you don't have to choose where you're putting your runner cards. If you choose to install them, they will just install.
Okay, so I've got 4 clicks and 5 credits. I was thinking about install. If you can see my hand,
I can.
I was thinking about installing Telework Contract and Docklands Pass,
Yeah, I think that would be a
and
good start.
that would be 2 clicks used up, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's install you and install you, and Dave can see them, can't he?
Dave can see them because the runner cards go in face up.
I can.
And you can see on the telework contract where the instructions tell you to load 9 credits on it. You can see that you've got 9 credits there on it. Already loaded in for you.
Okay, I see that 9 in the middle of the image. Okay.
Yep.
I was then going to, because I've only got 2 credits left, I was going to install Jailbreak.
You can play. Jailbreak's an event, so that wouldn't be a play.
Oh, right. Okay,
you
so
could run that if you wanted to, or if you wanted to get some more money, you could take 3 credits off your telework contract.
Okay, I think I probably should do that, shouldn't I? Done that.
Okay, 1 click left now.
Now, just out of curiosity, if I wanted to run, I'd click on the event, the Jailbreak card, and then click run.
No, if you click on Jailbreak, it'll just start running for you because that's what Jailbreak does. If you just want to run normally without the Jailbreak ability, that's where you would just click the word run.
Okay. Click. I'm going to click Jailbreak, see what happens.
How
Okay.
could you?
It's going to ask you which server you want to jailbreak on.
Oh. I don't know.
I've got.
Or you can either
3.
go into. You don't want to play Jailbreak on a remote, that would be a waste. So
Okay.
you can either go into HQ, which is unprotected, or you can risk going into R&D, but you don't know what the ice is in front of it. So I would probably go for HQ at this point.
Okay. Right, let's go for HQ. So I'm approaching the server.
Yeah, so what happens now is you're both being asked, do you want to do anything?
Okay, I want to access the server, but I can't see anything in his server at the moment, can I?
No. Dave has to say that he has got no further actions, unless he does.
Do I click first, or does Dave?
Dave has clicked now, so you can see in the log that it says Dex has no further actions, which then should prompt you to access the server.
Okay.
And you can see there it's popped up to tell you Docklands Pass that you've installed has allowed you to access an additional card.
Okay.
So the first card you've accessed is Karuna. You can't do anything with Karuna, so you just click OK.
I've only got no action.
Well, yeah, sorry, no action.
Okay, all right. And then I've accessed
send a message, which is an agenda.
So I get to take the agenda?
You can click steal to get those sweet 3 points.
Well, that's half of your work done. Brilliant.
Sweet points.
It's still your turn, Sharon. You've not finished, but because send a message has an ability, it has now paused to give Dave a chance to use that ability.
Which he's done?
Which he's done, and he's done wonderfully, because by fluke, the ice that he had installed was the very expensive Bran, and he gets to res that for free now, because...
so many credits.
Because he could,
Yeah, that's what send the message does. And now you're doing your jailbreak, which accesses you yet another card, and you've accessed seamless launch. So you know that that's in Dave's hand, but you can't do anything with it.
Okay, all right.
Seamless launch has no trash on it or anything like that, so.
And now I can't do anything else. I end my turn.
Yes, indeed.
Okay.
Now, Dave, if you want this Nico campaign to come into life now, before your turn starts, this is when you should pay to res it.
What? I can do things. Oh wait, am I doing it during Sharon's cleanup phase? Is that what's going on?
Essentially, it's what's called a paid ability window. So at the end of Sharon's turn, you both have a paid ability window, and then your turn starts.
Yeah, I definitely want it to come into
And
existence.
now, when
Did
you
I
click
have a
start,
paid ability window?
well, you couldn't do anything, but you had it, certainly.
Okay, thanks.
Now, as Dave has read this, the 9 credits have been placed on it, as the instructions of the card say, but because he's read it before his turn begins, aka the correct time to res it, when he clicks start turn now, he can immediately get 3 credits off it.
In fact, it does it automatically.
Costs him 1 click?
No, it
doesn't cost him anything.
It costs me no clicks. It's a trickle. So it automatically happens at the start of my turn. When your turn begins, take 3 credits from this asset.
Excellent.
Yep. And when it empties as well, so on the 3rd turn, it gets trashed and I get a free card draw out of the back end of it as well, which is positive. Quite positive.
Very nice.
Yeah.
And is that a card that I can break? Because I can see it because it's face up now.
Yeah, so when it's your turn again, you have the option of running onto this server 1 now, and if you can get to it, you can pay that trash cost in the bottom right-hand corner of 2 and make it disappear.
Oh, right. But then I might have bad effects if the card had bad effects on it. Subroutines. Okay.
Yeah. So Dave's going to put some ice in front of that asset to try and stop you getting to it.
I sure am.
Because he suspects you might want to trash it.
I'm going to ice, baby, and then I'm going to draw. And
okay.
Then that's the end of my turn, I think.
Sounds good. So what Dave has done, even though you've raced off to a good start, Sharon, with those 3 points, Dave has now got a bit of money saved up, and he's got some ice in hand, so he's able to establish some good defences now. So it's kind of up to you now how to respond with that. You either challenge his defences and kind of call his bluff, or you take some time to get set up instead.
Okay, so I'm starting my turn. And I've got 5 credits, but what I want to do is I want to take some money off that card, don't I?
Okay. That's your first click.
How many clicks do I have? 3 clicks? So you know that card that I was looking at, his Nico campaign card?
Yeah.
Whatever the ice is in front of it, I have to get through that with at least 2 credits left?
Correct.
Right, okay. But I don't know what that is, so that could just be like, oh, surprise, you're dead type card.
It could be. We know that he had a Karuna in hand because we saw it on his last turn when you ran into HQ. And Karuna
but I don't remember what it does.
It does 2 damage, and then you have the option of jacking out. So I think that's probably the worst that can happen to you.
Okay.
But what I would do right now, rather than gamble on that, is I would put down your verbal plasticity.
When did I get that?
That was drawn for you when you played Jailbreak, because Jailbreak draws you a card as well.
Right, okay, so... Okay, so I kind of want to build up my side as well.
Now, when you click draw now, which would usually only get you 1 card, because you've installed plasticity, it gets you 2.
Right, okay. Some kids got Gmods for beauty sports or staying up all night. Nice. Okay.
Okay.
So looking at my cards now, I've got those first two and... Wait, where am I? Oh, I've only got 1 turn left and 5 credits.
Yep.
I think I'm going to... I think I'm going to gain a credit.
Okay.
Enter.
End your turn.
Gotcha.
All right, Dave starts his turn, and he gets another 3 credits of Nico campaign. That drip icon is drip econ is dripping nicely.
It certainly is. Speaking of econ, boom.
So, can I ask then, that card that he's got, Dave, that you've got on server 1, the Nico campaign?
Yeah.
Once you get all the credits out of that, what happens to it?
Apparently, according to the text on the card, it says when it is empty, trash it and draw a card. So I will put it in my archives. That's what it means by trash it, I think. And then I will draw a card to replace that essentially into my hand. But it goes into my HQ, so it goes into my hand. It doesn't just get played or placed. But that's brilliant.
Question. What happens to the ice that you have in front of that server if the only card you've got on that server is lost?
Good question.
It's trashed.
It stays there. Once that server's been created, it exists now as an entity, and even though there's nothing in the root of it, it's still there as a computer you can hack into should you want to.
TO. Okay. Thank you.
What is a very smart play sometimes, if the corp is low on money, is if they have a piece of ice that's protecting nothing, you just run there, because why would they res something that's protecting nothing? And if you've got something that fires on a successful run, you get the benefits and they can do nothing about it.
Okay. So I should wait for Dave to finish that card, because I know it will finish automatically. He can't... It's not waiting for him to do anything other than have his turn.
I've given you another option, because I want that card to finish without getting messed with.
But there's no point me going for it because you're already halfway through.
Yeah, well...
that's a very good assessment of the situation. You've got to work out whether it's worth me getting rid of it now, or should I just let it tick out?
Yeah. It depends how you feel about the card draw at the back end of it, I guess, and the last 3 credits. But then I've got plenty of cash.
Do you have a lot of cash?
I'm the corporation.
Okay, Dave, do you want to end your turn?
I should have done.
Oh, okay. Sharon, have you started your turn?
Yes.
Okay.
I want the money too. Where's that money card?
So you can see now, as you've taken the last of the money there, that automatically trashes for you, and it's disappeared off to your heap. What I think would be good for you now, Sharon, is if you played your smart word distributor, and then you clicked your smart word distributor, that would start money dripping in for you, just as it has been for Dave.
Okay. Did I get a new card? Did I just get smart word distributor?
No, you drew that last turn.
Yeah.
Right. I want to destroy Dave's server.
You want to destroy it? Okay.
Yeah, let's do it. Do I click run?
Okay, so what you want to do, you're wanting to run on server 1?
Yes.
Okay, so you click run, and it'll ask you where you want to run, and then you click server 1.
Am I able to run on HQ and R&D as well?
You can run whichever you like.
Do you just run one at a time, though, yes?
Yes, one at a time.
Oh, so for each subroutine, it's another click?
For each run you want to make, it will cost you 1 click, yes.
And you can only run one subroutine at a time?
One server at a time. Subroutines are things, defensive abilities on ice, which I have put in front of my servers to stop you attacking them. Yeah.
Is it asking me if I want to continue to approach server just in case I did an accident?
Partly. So
This.
just when you say I want to make a run, normally you do pause for a second in case they say, sorry, I've made a mistake, I want to take that back. But also, Dave has the option of rezzing something as soon as you've declared that run. So there might be some cards, nothing in this deck, but there are cards later in the game that might say, once you've started a run on this server, the ice gets stronger, or you can't jack out anymore, or you can't do this and that. So after you've said, I want to make a run, Dave has the opportunity to do stuff.
Yeah.
He says, no further actions. Then you say, I'm going to continue to the server. Once you continue into the server, Dave then has the decision of whether he wants to res his ice or just let you come straight into it. In this case, he's decided to res his ice. So he's paid his 2 credits and he's turned white space face up.
So now it's effective. So now I have to get through it.
You have to break it if you can, but as this is a code gate and you don't have any decoders installed, you can't break this.
Okay, but now I can see what he's done, so I can undo my click?
Oh no. Now you have to reap the whirlwind.
Why does it give me the option to undo my click then?
That's just because in case you've made a mistake.
Oh, but this is playing fair, so I shouldn't click it because I've not made a mistake and
Correct.
Dave's acted on something I did. Okay.
Yeah. So that first subroutine makes you lose 3 credits.
Okay.
So Dave, you can fire your subroutines.
Fire unbroken subroutines.
Sharon loses 3 credits, but because she still has 7, the second subroutine does nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And she can walk on through. So you click continue to pass ice.
Rewards for the rich.
I have the options let all subroutines fire, pass ice and continue, pass ice and jack out. Yeah, so should I say pass ice and continue?
Yes, please.
Okay. What does let all subroutines fire mean?
It's what you've done, basically.
Right.
It's telling Dave to let all the subroutines fire.
Yeah.
And that's when you feel the effect of them.
Rightio. Now I want to access his server, don't I?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Pay to trash. Sweet.
No more Nico campaign for Dave.
And now I think I want to play Carmen.
Carmen will take you down to 2 credits, but you're welcome to do so.
Because I had a successful run, so it won't cost me 5.
So it costs you
Absolutely
3
true.
instead. Yep.
Okay. Do that then.
Gotcha. And that breaks sentries, doesn't it?
It does.
Can Dave do things to get rid of my cards that I've laid down?
In this deck, no. In later decks, yes.
Gotcha. Right. I start my turn. I
feel like such a muppet.
Put this one into server 2. I put...
What are you doing now, Dave?
This one into server 1. I'm doing options. So I'm placing things down. Is it going to cost me a click to res this asset?
No.
No. Okay, but I don't want to res this asset because No, I do not want to res this asset. I want to do it just before the turn so that Sharon can't see what I'm resing. So I will... what's that one? Okay. I will draw a card and end my turn. Oh, bum.
Okay, so what Dave's done there is what we classically call a fork, and he's saying, I've got two things I can do something with on my next turn. Do you want to try either of them? Now, at the moment, we're quite poor, so this would be quite difficult for us.
Do I just start turn as normal though?
Yeah.
Okay. So now I'll do that smart thingy-majig distributor.
And then if you click on it again, you'll load 3 credits up. That doesn't do any good now, but it will do in the future.
Right.
So I'd probably draw a card now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and
that's
I've
good.
drawn 2. Okay.
That's perfect. Now, which one's perfect for you here?
The Creative Commission.
Absolutely.
Oh,
So
final click.
One final click, so it doesn't lose you anything, and it boosts us up to 6 credits, which is lovely.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't do anything to try and damage Dave. Is that okay?
On that turn, no, you're just taking a setup turn.
Oh, okay.
The balance, of course, in Netrunner is being aggressive enough to not let Dave have his own way, but at the same time, not stretching yourself too far that you'll suddenly run out of money or not have enough cards, not enough board state set up to be able to run past to challenge him.
Quick question. Oh, sorry. Go on.
No, after you, Dave.
When do you advance agendas? How does that work? Is that one of my abilities, my basics?
Yeah, so you click on the agenda itself or the card you want to advance.
Can I do that in this activity now, or should it cost me a click?
It costs you a click as well each time. So.
Right. Okay. Only when I click on this, it's giving me the advance option.
Yes, only the menu. If you tried to click on it, it would tell you don't have enough clicks.
I was going to ask,
Gotcha.
because Dave's clicks say 0.
Yep. Okay, cool.
Because it not started?
It looks after me. Yeah, no, I can res this in my turn because it only takes credits to res it. And it's another Nico. And then...
Did you have another one in your hand?
No, in my deck.
Oh, in your deck. In your deck.
Yes.
Got it.
Select target.
Is your deck called the HQ server? Because that's got 3 next to it.
HQ is my hand.
2. Okay.
2, and my deck is R&D. Right.
Got it.
Mark,
Thanks.
I've got 3 advance points on my 3-1 here. Shall I just score the dang thing?
You should, unless you're
Does that cost a
really
click?
trying to bait something.
Draw 2 cards.
It doesn't,
yes, I
no.
will. Okay.
Scoring is a paid ability, not a click ability.
Oh, brilliant. Okay.
Oh, so Dave's still got 1 click.
Yes, I have.
Yeah. So what Dave did was he played Seamless Launch that puts 2 advancements on it, and he advanced it manually, which put a 3rd advancement on it.
Okay.
Which got him 3 advancements on a 3-1 agenda, and that means he can score it. Scoring it in drew him 2 cards, and now he has a click left.
Installing costs a click, doesn't it?
It does.
What a difficult choice.
But you've got a click.
I have, yeah, but I want to do at least 6 things this turn, and that's problematic. But what I'm going to do is duff that one there, and then end turn.
Okay, Sharon, let's see what we can do.
Good luck.
So when you start your turn, you'll get a credit immediately from Smartware Distributor, which will be nice.
But I have to use a click?
No, just start your turn and watch it roll in.
Oh, start turn. There we go. Oh, right. Okay, so now I've got 7 credits. That's not too bad. It says 3 or 4 MU unused next to my name.
It's your memory units, and
Rightio.
Yeah, you have 1 used for Carmen. That's the only card that you have down that uses memory units.
The hell is Carmen?
'Cause
Okay.
It's your only program.
But
so
I really
think you probably want to draw first of all, Sharon.
Okay.
Get that verbal value.
Oh.
Look what your options are.
Nicey dicey.
How am I meant to punch her down if she's always got 5 cards in hand? This is crackers.
I think then I want to play Unity?
I think installing Unity is a good idea, but if you play it now, it will take you down to 4 credits.
Is there anything else I can do?
Well, if you play Sure Gamble first, that will take you up to a massive 12 credits.
Oh boy.
And then you can
of course.
play the Unity.
Hi, Sure Gamble. Where has it gone?
It's now in your
heap because you've played it and you've gained 4 credits.
Right. Got it. And then I want Unity, noting I've got 2 clicks left, so go for it. And then I was thinking Creative Commission.
Well, this is certainly the click to play it on. Lovely.
Oh, is it your last click again? Okay,
yeah.
Right.
Getting nicely set up now. Lots of money. Am I getting that?
Oh, I still don't have as much money as Dave. His bloody Nico card.
Dave got very lucky with that send a message earlier being able to res Bran for free, because saving 6 credits on that was massive.
That's huge, right? I want to advance that.
Beer is lovely.
Then I'll just get some credits, just a couple.
Oh, that's a lot of credits. That's a lot of credits.
What happened?
I'm rich. I'm rich.
He played a government subsidy.
Jesus.
Which gained him 5 on top of the 16 he already had.
Let's go wide.
No clicks, Dave. Come on now.
Oh, I've run out of clicks. Balls. Sure.
Right, Sharon.
Okay.
We're in a pretty good position now. When you start your turn, you'll have another credit trickle in off your smart word distributor.
So 13 credits. I was thinking, so I've now got an icebreaker for Codegate and
for Sentry routines. Yeah.
And I can see that Dave's got
White Space is a Codegate. Bioroids are neither of those, though. The Bran 1.0 is a different sort.
It's a Bioroid, but it's also a barrier. So you will need to install Cleaver to pay through barrier.
Yeah. But it wouldn't destroy barrier.
Oh no, there's no trashing at this stage.
Do you get Bioroids in different flavours, like Codegate Bioroids as well?
You do?
Okay, cool.
They're always purple, but you get them in all different types.
Sure.
I think what I should do is first I should draw.
Okay.
And then I should run.
Ooh, spicy.
Mm.
Oh, okay.
Ooh, an additional card.
So I think I'll play Overclock.
Where are you going to run?
That white space card.
The white space one, okay, that's fine.
Or should I go? Should I take a punt on one of these unknown ice cards?
If you were going to run an unknown ice, I would install Cleaver first, because obviously
quite expensive though.
It is.
What if he's got another white space? Then I wouldn't have enough credit.
I mean, you've got loads of credits. You've got 13 credits.
Oh, Cleaver's only 3. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, right. Then I probably should break Bran.
You can break Bran now, but that will be very expensive.
All right.
Because Cleaver is strength 3 and Bran is strength 6. So to break it in its entirety, I think will cost you 8 credits.
Okay. So what I should do
wait, 3, 4, 5, 6 you need to match, which is 3 expenditures of 2 each, which is 6 cost, and then you'll need to break all 3 parts of Bran, right? Which is 9 total?
Cleaver breaks 2 at once.
Ah, Cleaver's got cash back. Gotcha.
So I should try and strengthen my code breakers. My the hell they called?
No,
My programs.
Your programs are not going to get any stronger for the moment. You can make them stronger whilst you're breaking things.
So, for example, if I've got Cleaver, I would not want to spend 2 credits to add its to increase its strength by 1.
I mean, sometimes you have to. That's the price you'll have to pay to break something.
Oh, so I can't just pay off the sort of difference in strength?
No.
Right.
You have to match the strength in order to break it.
Okay. Righty-tighty. Do I take a punt or not take a punt? Kind of want to. Let's go for it. Let's run. Okay. Oh, no, wait. I want to overclock first, don't I?
Oh, cool. Well, click overclock, and then it'll ask you where you want to overclock to.
Yeah, I now do want to go for server 1 just because white space is my nemesis.
You'll be rich as balls for that run. God, is that so? That 5 is when it says event run. That means trash it at the end of the event, no matter what's happened.
Yeah, the event will go in the heap at the end of it, and any credits you've not spent will disappear with it.
Gotcha.
So I know I'll spend at least 3 credits. Whereas Dave could choose not to res the ice in front of server 2.
Correct.
And his server 2, I'd just have to pay 2 credits, so I'd potentially lose 3.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Okay, so now you want to break it. So first of all, you've got to encounter it.
Yep.
And then you've got to click on Unity.
Okay.
And then you've got to click on Break 1 subroutine. And then it'll ask you, where do you want to take the money from? Do you want to take it out of your pocket, or do you want to take it out of overclock? So you click on overclock over in the top left to take it from there instead.
It won't let me click on overclock, but it does say break a subroutine, runner loses 3, or end the run if the runner has 6 or less.
Yeah, so click the first one.
Break a subroutine.
The lose 3.
Oh. Ah, right. You have to choose which subroutine to break, right?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Got it. How come it only cost me 1?
Because it only costs 1 for you to break a code gate subroutine, as long as the strength of your icebreaker matches or is larger than the strength of my ice. And in this case, my ice is strength 0, so you automatically have.
Excellent. So now I break the second subroutine.
Yep.
You don't need to.
Oh,
it doesn't do
really?
anything.
Oh yeah, it does nothing.
Yeah.
What happens if you break both subroutines? Is there a way to get rid of my ice permanently?
Only in very, very minimal situations.
Right. Okay. It does happen. Just it's not going to happen in System Gateway.
Correct.
Gotcha.
I accidentally had already clicked on break subroutine.
Okay, doesn't matter.
Sure.
Oh no, I don't know what's happened now.
Now it's me. I think I can advance the phase to continue to pass ice.
Yep. Can you continue to pass ice, Sharon?
Yeah.
Okay.
Gotcha.
And then it's going to ask you if you've any more actions or whether you want to access the server.
Sure. Do I?
You don't need to do anything, Dave.
And it says...
Thank you very much.
Oh, you fell for it, Sharon.
Oh, so
Okay.
what I had under there was the Urtica cipher, which is my trap. I knew that you knew what was in front of it, and I knew that you were getting a lot of money together, and that made whatever I put there easy to make a run on. So I decided to put my trap card there. When you drew those cards that turn, I didn't think I would kill you because you had so many in hand. But fortunately, you used enough of them that I did 3 points of damage. 2 from the basic ability, and 1 because I'd advanced it once, which is part of that ability. So that does 3 damage.
Okay. Oh, so you've damaged the cards that I had in my grip,
Yes, I
not
did.
the ones on my board.
No, I
No, so
damaged the ones in your hand. They're like a shield.
that trap did 3 damage. Because you only had 2 cards in hand, it
Yeah.
knocks the 2 out of your hand, and then the third one actually kills you. And that's the alternate win condition you have. Funnily enough, I was sort of leaving it up for you to decide. If you'd have chosen HQ instead, you'd have won.
Oh, really?
That's how close it was. Because you'd have accessed both cards and you'd have stolen 5 points.
Yeah,
But wait, why am I not dead?
Oh, yeah, very much dead.
Oh, Dex wins the game.
flatline.
Ah, oh, so I always have to have cards in my hand.
Yes.
You can run with no cards in your hand so long as you don't take any damage.
Ooh.
Just in this case, Dave was being super sneaky, advancing that card, which was basically the only card that could kill you. If it was anything else, it would have been fine.
But I had
Sorry.
5 cards in my hand. Oh no, don't be sorry. I'm just trying to understand the game. If I'd had 5 cards in my hand and I did the same actions, I wouldn't be dead.
You wouldn't be, because you wouldn't have taken a point of damage on you. You just would have lost 3 cards from your hand.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're like hit points in that sense.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. I think.
Okay. The time has got pretty late. Do you want to redo to have another go, or do you want to call it a draw for tonight?
Well,
Go.
I'm getting really shady connection issues. I think you can see on stream we're getting a bit fuzzy constantly. This is probably because the students have come online.
The students have come online.
You'd be surprised. They affect everything I do on the internet. So I'll have to work out my my connection issues. And we've been going for a couple of hours. That's
Oh,
that's pretty
blimey.
good.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah.
Yeah, certainly.
No, we listened to an alternate for a couple of hours. And then I think it was 3 minutes, actually. It was a quick game.
Sure. Yeah. It didn't take very long. It was, but it was
Yeah,
good fun
I'm
actually. I
happy to
really
call it
enjoyed
quits.
that. Yeah.
I'd be up for playing some games while not streaming.
Cool. Okay. Well, we'll end the stream there. Dave, I don't want to take you a chance away from giving us a flick onto our last mode.
Woo! Well done, Dave.
Wait. Here we go.
Woohoo!
There we go.
Again.
So that's the base. Lots of me talking about the rules and the history of the game and the cards that are in the deck, and we've persevered through the Jinteki interface to learn how that works. Hopefully, to a point now where you feel somewhat comfortable in how it works. I'm sure there'll be more questions and quirks as we go through, but as you've just said, we can play some more games now offline to get some more practice in, and then when we meet next week, we can have a quick game of these decks, and then we'll introduce you to the booster decks and a few extra cards and stuff.
No!
More cards,
No, I
Sharon.
can't take it.
More cards. More cards.
Okay. Well, thank you very much to those who have joined us this evening. And hopefully it's not been too long or boring. And we
That's
will
what
see
she
you
said.
again soon.
Yes, I couldn't hold it in any longer. I did well. Come on. Almost 2.5 hours. That's what she said.
Nice work.
Come back next week for more of Sarah's.
That's what she said.
Yeah, exactly.
Innuendo. Short.
In
Okay,
your
everyone.
endo.
Thank you very much, and good night.
Thanks,
Bye.